My name's Alhalabi, and this is Uncommon.
This is probably a good segue into the, early studies, the tutoring business.
Yep.
So this would have been a hard one in that you were 2 years into your civil engineering degree. You quit to start a business, which was in tutoring. I was just curious, in an alternative world where the family wasn't seeing financial hardship, which had driven you to leave your degree, what would your life have looked like, do you think? Do you think that it would have just been a matter of time before you gone into something else anyway, or it would have been prolonged? And because as an example, I did my degree, I did accounting and finance because my dad was like, you can't be a trade. You've got to, you don't want to start a business. You want to do a profession, accounting, doctor, lawyer, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I did that, did a grad roll over summer, hated it, and slowly started segueing into where I am now.
I probably would have ended up going down your route. I would have ended up like how you ended up doing business. I would have ended up doing business because doing business is the closest thing to me living my true self, and it goes beyond things I can really explain. It's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just know. It's not even a question. I've always known. I've always just from the moment I began thinking consciously about what my future would look like, it was always business. Because I think maybe I looked at people who are business owners and I'm like, that's the life I want to live. Very clearly, I just identified it's what I want to do. And then when I actually got started in business, that's when I realized I have so much love for this. For years, I made no money, did not pay myself a salary, was always constantly broke, and all I had to do was get a job and I would have been fine, but I refused to.
Yeah.
I refused to because I would prefer to be broke, make no money, but just be a business owner than to make a decent income and work as an employee. It was just personally for me. So if we didn't experience financial hardships, I probably would have finished my degree and then eventually go down the same path. I would have struggled a little bit and then taken certain steps to eventually get into business.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it wasn't the hardships that made me a business owner. I was a business owner and the hardships just made me a business owner sooner.
Yeah. And what is it about? Because I know that exact feeling of not having any money. I still don't get paid a salary. My salary is $1.
Yeah.
If we I don't even have a contract. It's just, if things go well, I can get paid some money.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I just love maybe it's like social capital. There's definitely a social capital component to it.
Yeah.
Being able to say that you are an owner or managing director. There's some of it's freedom. There's a lot of freedom associated with it. But there's no doubt. My wife and I, we continually work. We're continually working late.
Yep.
10:30.
Yep.
Is a regular occurrence at the moment.
Would you continue to do that if you knew that you were never going to have a huge turning point with exponential growth? If this is all it was?
I'd say so. I guess my argument would be that it's just not in my personality to not have that moment, because I think I would learn, readjust, and make changes that allow us to get to that turning point. It's sort of like you had a piece of content where you have growth spurts and then down periods. And I feel like for us as owners, we're sort of in one of those down periods and then there'll be another up period.
Yeah.
You always have that. So no, I don't think I change it because it feels so nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
To be a business owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what is it for you?
So for me, the reason I am willing to sacrifice and deal with all the what comes with being a business owner, not paying yourself, not making money, being broke for a long time, all that sort of stuff, is because I just have faith that eventually when it turns, it's just going to turn in such a massive way. Jerry's a good example of it. You go from
he did that for years.
Playside wasn't what it was in the first 3 years. I'm
pretty sure they put everything into that first game they made.
Exactly.
They could have gone broke.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you looked at Jerry in his first 3 years, you wouldn't see the Jerry you see now. But just 5 years later, 5 years, you know how short 5 years is?
Yeah, I know.
5 years. It's it's a public company worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
He hit his turning point and it made everything worth it. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to continuously do this because I have faith I'm eventually going to hit my turning point. And when I do hit my turning point, I'm going to be able to achieve things and live a life that I just can't get from taking the safe route.
Yeah.
Taking the safe route, I'll make good salary, good income, but I'm not going to go from $100,000 a year to 10 million. But business can do that. Business can do that. You know what I'm saying? It allows this opportunity for things to turn around in a massive, massive way. So that's my driving force. And then if I get to enjoy it along the way, then I've got like literally the perfect life. I genuinely wake up so freaking happy every day. I can't even like explain it.
Yeah. Well, the thing you mentioned before just reminds me of like, we look at like competitors and what we're doing, and I often just sit to myself and just go like, I'm just going to be here forever. Like I don't see it ever ending, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be bored. And I know that on you look at people like Warren Buffett, a long enough timeline, things do go to zero for a lot of people. If you're willing to continue to improve, change, you're probably going to. Do you mean like
you look at competitors and then you'll see them progressing? Is that what you're saying?
Not so much of like we're in a certain scenario, let's say, and things are harder than what they normally are.
Yeah.
And there's that friction, but I also see it as like that friction creates diamonds. They're the moments where a year from now you look back in hindsight and go, fuck, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it's the whole idea of quitting and leaving it all and not doing it is it's definitely there. It's there for all of us at different points, but it's never at a point where I would do it. I don't think. There's a question I want to ask you actually, because I was just chatting to Ali about this, and he said this to me. You've got no time for a girlfriend, right?
He said that.
Apparently, Apparently, you're 1,000% committed to being an entrepreneur. So that's what he said.
Not true,
but you went through a period of your life where your drive was based on a survival element more than most, right? Yeah. And you've gone through a period which we'll get into about the different businesses, but clearly you've paid off your HECS. You've been able to buy some nice toys. M3 competition, I think it was.
M4, but not competition
M4?
though.
Okay.
No.
Things are starting to align. How do you see your personal why changing at the moment? How has that evolved as these things have come into your life?
I feel like where I'm at now was always it's like ground zero. Like I feel like you always feel like they haven't done anything. If I look back, my why was like surviving for sure, and is so that I understand your question. It's like, well, if your driving factor before was to survive, to get to ground zero, how are you staying motivated? What's your driving factor now that you're no longer fighting against, having nothing? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So I would say that my why or my driving factor has like transformed over time to just being from wanting to achieve certain things to wanting to just be the best that I can possibly be, to like see my full potential come. I know it sounds like really cliche, but it's just to see my full potential come about. And then also like, why not experience what would it be like
possible?
Yeah, what would it be like making $1 million in profit a year? Like, what would that actually be like? What would it be like making $10 million in profit a year? Like, what would that mean? What kind of life would that mean for the people around me? Like, that's how I think. Because I was actually chatting to my dad about this the other day. I'm like, as an individual, as a young man, I'm sorted in terms of like, I've got my nice car, I've got my office, got my business, got my income, I got this stuff. And if I was just focusing on me, I'm happy. Like, I don't have to try to do anything crazy, but my goals are not even I don't do what I do for myself. It's just all been about my family. So I've got like this pressure that I've put on myself to help everyone around me succeed and grow. And that's actually another great point to mention. Like things will pop up over time that will you transform from like motivation to this is my life. So I don't need to be motivated. I have a team that relies on me.